Ehe. Kikombe iko hapa. Ehe, kikombe iko hapo juu. Thank you. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for joining. Happy Thursday. Miss. Thank you guys for joining. How are you doing this good Thursday? Happy Thursday everyone. Let's like the live. Let's like the live guys. And I'm going to appreciate if this is your first time. Okay. 40. Yeah, 30. 50.
Tunataka kununulia ile tamu kama hiyo, sawa? Sawa. Kubaya tamu. Pia tarufu tumeenda na kununua tamu. Ukula, utakula yote. Utakula yote. Mbona yuko na sare pesa?
Narusha kile umudenya. Nice cut. Hi. Even tomorrow is another day. Thank you. Sawa. Okay. How are you? I'm fine. I'm you never know. I am good at Nice Cat Lover. What about you? How are you doing today? How are you doing today? How are you doing today? Thank you, J Mark Jr. Thank you so much with a lot of love. Nice Cat Lover. Where are you from? I'm from Kenya. What about you? What about you? Thank you. Let's also like the live, guys. Let's also like the live. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you so much. That's an amazing love. What about you, Nice Cat Lover? I'm from Kenya. What about you? Where are you coming from? Good, my favorite country. Wow, thank you so much. I'm from Pakistan. Thank you with a lot of love. Yeah, you should come and visit Kenya. You should one day, one time, just purpose and come and visit us here in Kenya. Hmm? You should come and just visit us here in Kenya. Also nice to meet you. Wow, it's good to meet a nice guy all the way from Pakistan. It's always a very nice thing to meet different people from different parts of the globe. Anytime I make a friendship from any country, I always feel very, very proud. Yeah, nice cat lover. It was also very, very, I'm also very, very grateful to have met you today. That's a very, very instrumental thing. Thank you guys for the likes. Let's like the life. Let's like the life. Let's like the life. How is Pakistan? Nice cat lover. How is Pakistan? The last time I heard from Pakistan when there was a revolution. How are things now? Have things started changing or shaping up? Have things started changing? Mushik 911. Jesus Christ was a prophet and not a God. Very true. Very, very, very true. I agree with you, Mushik 911. I agree with you. Yeah, I agree with you. Jesus is not God, but now from our view, from the Christian view, we always say that Jesus was the Son of God. Cindy Wambo, Mambo, how are you doing today, Cindy? CD is saying that Jesus is God. CD is saying that Jesus is God. Thank you guys. Thank you guys. Yeah, Jesus was the Son of God. Retry, I think, from the both argument, Jesus being the Son of God, God, since He is as supreme as God. On the other side, they are, from the Muslim perspective, Jesus was a Muslim, you know. Jesus was a prophet, I mean. Jesus was a prophet, and therefore, it is also very, very arguable that, Jesus was a prophet and not God. No? But if you look critically at the entire thing, I think we are talking almost the same thing, because you see now from the Islamic faith, the highest prophet was I think Muhammad, you know, and Muhammad is almost equated just like Jesus Christ. So from the both sides, I agree. We can look at Jesus as the Son of God. We can look at Jesus as the prophet. We can also look at Jesus as God. For us Christians, especially when something maybe happens unto us, we always say, "Oh Jesus," you see, or "Oh my God," you see, because we really tend not to distinguish or maybe to differentiate maybe Jesus and God. We always take them almost the same thing in a holistic manner. So it is arguable that Jesus, we can look at Jesus as God, we can also look at Jesus as prophet based on Muslims' faith. So from both sides, I agree that we are all correct. We are all correct. So guys, today we have another very, very interesting topic. I believe that the topic is very, very interesting. And I know maybe this is something that maybe you have ever realized, in the context of your life, in our societies. We have some families, or some individuals, and obviously these individuals have their root maybe from a certain family, and some of them are really engaging into what we may call the cult. If Karen today was here, she will say that the first cult that maybe someone would talk about today, especially here in Kenya, is all about Forex, because Forex, the entire thing, when you talk about Forex, it's really imagined to be a kind of a cult. So guys, when we really talk about the family cult, there are some of those families. There are some families that really that tend to control the operations of the family. That tend to make a variation of how a family operates, and therefore it's very, very important for us to at least understand what we mean when we talk about the family cult. And mostly when we really talk about a family cult, this is where we are either having a family that is being controlled, but that is being controlled maybe by certain forces. The forces, there are families that are maybe perceived to be at the center maybe of sorcery. There are families that are also maybe linked to be at the center of maybe making something like murder and something of stuff, those negative aspects within the society. And once we established that maybe families are really realizing on that, then at the end of the day, we really tend to take those families from a very form of a negative perception. So family cult, this is where we are really talking of maybe a family member being part and parcel of a certain cult, and in the process of being in that cult, then things becomes very tricky. So family cult, in most of the time, this is where maybe we have what we may call in most cases, family cult operate in where maybe a certain family member is really perceived to be maybe at the center of maybe what we may call unquestionable, being linked with unquestionable issue, and in the process, that person is very feared to an extent that maybe he or she cannot be even questioned anything. So family cult, mostly it's really very challenging, especially maybe when you realize that maybe a certain family member or maybe a certain individual is really linked with a certain cult. We often tend to to isolate, because we really want to stay away from that cult that member is really trying to practice. And therefore, in the process, even the relationship that maybe that guy or that lady or that man or that family has with other people, from the outside world, it really becomes very scary, And at the end of the day, we really want to create what we may call, we really may, we really even want to have what we may call the boundaries. We really want to be disengaged in their issues, and we really want to prevent, we really want to be very far away from their issues. That one is very prevalent within our society. And you always realize that some of the individuals now, do not really care about the feelings of others, and in the process, they really want to create what we may call the boundaries. And in the process of creating the boundaries, most of them are really prevented, maybe from developing what we may call a healthy sense of self. So family cult is as dangerous as we have said. It is an aspect that really even create what we may call in the process of realizing this form of cult, you always realize that that individual or that guy or that lady who is maybe into that cult, it's a person maybe who who cannot be questioned anything. They are no apology guys. This is where they always believe that they are right and there is nothing that you can really tell them, you know. So that one is also very important to note, that the individuals that are really linked with a certain cult, at the end of the day, they always believe that they cannot be, they cannot be collected in any form of, in any way. Then the cult comes with a lot of secrecy, secret at the end of the day. I think is the first and the most important thing that is mostly realized with these cults. For individuals that are really doing forex, they have, because it's now perceived to be a form of cult. It's being linked with a lot of secrecy. It's also being linked with a lot of shame, because they really have the highest level of protection. They really want to protect from what we really know and what we really understand, and in the process they really want to protect, they really want to protect their image, which they always believe that is very important. So which are some of the key ways that we really see maybe with families that are linked with a certain cult? One, the first thing that we always sense, especially maybe when the leader of a certain cult, may try to define their family in a different way or in a different fashion. And in the process of defining their family in a different fashion, things are said to be, this is where you always find that if you have maybe probably seen a family that is linked with a cult, emotional manipulation is always there. This is where we really want to shy away maybe from interacting with people that are linked to be from a certain cult. And when I talk about cult, you can look at cult from a different, from very diverse point of view. One, you can look at a cult maybe from a certain activity that an individual does, but at the end of the day they really want to conceal. Karen, sasa uko aje? Niko fine. Uko aje Karen? How are you doing today? How are you doing today? How are you doing today, Karen? That's very nice. That's very nice. How was your day? Yeah, I agree. What did you sense with family that are engaged in a certain cult? Anxiety and fear. I'm also very anxious, even being near, to those people that maybe are linked with a certain cult. Karen, is Forex a cult? Is Forex a cult? The guys that are saying they are doing Forex, is it a cult? Nowadays people are doing a lot of cults. There are those that are in the Freemason. They call them, they are Freemasonry people. They are those in the Freemason. And I believe Freemason, from my view, Freemason, it is a cult. It has a lot of secrecy. It really comes with a lot of power. It really comes with a lot of property. It really comes with a lot of, to me, Freemasonry is a cult. So I think so. At the end of the day, those people that are really linked with a certain cult, they really do what we may call emotional manipulation. They always use what we may call the abusive tactics, such as gaslighting, Why do you love talking about it? Because it is a cult. Karen, which one? Folex? Because I believe it is a cult. I believe that thing it. Why do you love talking about it? I believe that thing it is a cult. Based on how people are usually viewing it. I believe they are really practicing a form of a cult. It's just like the Freemasonry thing. It is another cult. And we even have some religion that are also practicing what we may call a cult. Yeah, like I know of a certain religion. I have heard of a certain religion whereby the congregants, or what we may call the church members, they are always working in the church from Monday to Sunday. They are always working in the church from Monday to Sunday, and they are women. Most of them are women, and they always even sleep in the church. And now the question that I was really asking myself was, how do they even take it? When do they even take care of their husbands and their kids at home? That was now the biggest question that I was asking myself. When? And therefore I saw that one also to be a form of a cult. It's not only the sorcerer. That Murogi of maybe a certain village can be linked to be practicing cult. Even some churches are really practicing cult. I saw of another church in South Africa, whereby I saw another church in South Africa whereby the pastor was kicking a congregant, and it was all said that he was praying for him, and the only way he could have kicked some demons out of him was just to kick him. I saw also that to be a form of a cult. Also the Mackenzie Dean. The Mackenzie Dean was also another cult. This is where people are being told that church. It is also in Kenya. Wow. I think the first one that I talked about, it is here in Kenya. Whereby women are there. I know that church. Personally, I know that church. Women are there from Monday to Sunday, serving the pastor, washing the church, doing everything. Most of them also sleep there, in the church. And now the question that I was really asking myself is, even if we are serving God, then when will they have time, to work for themselves? When will them have time to take care of their husbands and kids at home? It is a form of a cult. I also know of another church which do not allow its members, to go to hospital. Yeah, that's the thing, Karen. Very true. It is always a crime scene. It is also a crime scene. I also know another church, Karen, that really sells what we may call, they really sell what we may call the anointing oil. Others are really selling what we may call broom. They just sell for you, and they just tell you, when you go at home and then you use it, maybe to remove, all those things that people are being told to do. It is a form of a cult. Those are cults. Another church, for these people that really wear the turbans. Yeah, I know of another church for those guys that wear the turban, and they always want their members, not to marry, especially when they have not been told by the pastor who to marry. Yeah. So I heard of this story of a guy who went to that church, and the guy really narrated how the guy really wanted a certain girl, and since now the church is a form of a cult, he really talked with the oh. So he really talked with that pastor. Yeah, the guy talked with the pastor, and the pastor agreed that he is going to say that he has, God has talked with him. He was really pursuing that lady, but unfortunately, the lady was always declining to having a relationship with that guy until, and the lady always said, until it's confirmed by the pastor, that's when now that lady will accept to marry that guy. And so the guy was a little bit, wise to talk with the pastor, and the pastor agreed, and the pastor asked for a certain amount of money, and there we go, the guy was accepted, and the pastor just told the lady, this is that's what that yeah, in a cult, that's what mostly they do, they mostly do that, because that is really a cult. That's really a cult. So people are practicing cult in various forms, various forms, and therefore when you really maybe think about them, you just feel very fearful. You just fear about those churches. You just feel that, wow, things are very tough. Things are very tough. So cult is there, it is evident in our society. People are really practicing that form of different forms of cult. And as I was saying, people that really practice what we are really talking about today, most of them really want to do what we call emotional, manipulation. Also, they instill a lot of fear. They instill a lot of fear. They really want to instill a lot of fear to those people around them, and also even those people maybe within their community. And in the process, they really damage their self-worth. Yeah. Like in my society, interacting with someone maybe who is linked to be from a certain cult, we really see them as very dangerous people. We always find them to be very dangerous people, because once you are in a certain cult and people believe so, then people always believe that you can kill them anytime, any day. And so the easiest thing that they are going to develop against you is seeing you from a very negative point of view. Yeah. Unalea mtoto wa pasta ukifikiri ni wako. Where women can make someone's life. Very true, Karen. Very true. And I have seen one thing with religion, with African religion. Women are the ones who are very prone. to this cult. Okay, for men I have also seen, especially those that go for, what is it called, for those that are really used to recruit, like the Freemason. There is a certain guy that I have seen on in TikTok. He is always frozen with how he has gained since he joined the Freemasonry. You see, that's a form of cult, you know. So the guy is really talking very highly, of how that group can really give you a lot of supremacy. It can give you uh, a lot of view about the issues of Christianity, a lot of issues about, because this cult, most of these cult, they come with a lot of controversy inside them. Like the Freemasonry, when you hear about it here in Kenya, we always feel that that thing is really, meant to kill. Yeah, you have to kill maybe one of your family members so that maybe you can get and acquire wealth from a Freemasonry. So, and once maybe you really want to go higher the rank, as they say, these are the stories that I have heard with people out here. They say even in those groups or in those cults, they have some levels. You keep on advancing. So as you keep on advancing, the more you do the evil things. Cult is all about, cult can be equated with what we may call evil. So anytime maybe you are talking about cult, we are really holistically looking at the evil. So the more you want to go to the next ladder, the more now you have to do a lot of sacrifice. Like if maybe you are linked to be one of the members of the Freemason, for you maybe to acquire a lot of wealth, you want to be rich, you want to have a nice car, you want to have a lot of money, all those stuff, you have to do a lot of sacrifice. You have to sacrifice your mother, you have to sacrifice your son, you have to sacrifice your wife. And to sacrifice them is to make them die. That's what they really say, And then in the process of making them die, now we come back to what we are calling the damage of the self-worth. You cannot even try to go near that person, You always feel those person or that individual have what we may call an extraordinary form of powers, and once you mess with him, they can also take you to Sayun. They can also take you to your maker even before your time. And therefore, once now you understand or you have such type of a perception about someone who is in that form of a cult, then we really see them from a very negative point of view. You don't even want to talk with them because at the end of the day, we see them as evil. So being in any form of a cult, it is an evil thing. Another example that I knew was another church whereby it was a cult, and the cult was any church member, even if they are sick, they should not go to hospital, and they should not take the medicine. They should not even take the medicine. They were all supposed to go to the pastor, wait and be prayed by the pastor, and then at the end of the day things will be fine. And in the process, a lot of lives were lost. A lot of lives were lost. Before people came to realize that it was a cult, so many lives, and very young lives, has been lost. Similarly, there were some other cults that even today I think they still exist. They really tell their members not even to go to school because school is evil. Acquiring education is a very evil thing. We even have them here in Kenya. Going to school is an evil thing, and anyone who is trying to contaminate their mind with the knowledge of trying to tell them about their religion should be perceived as an enemy. That's the form. Those are some of the examples of the modern cult that we are really having in our society today. So we really see them from a very, very negative perception. We don't really want to even to interact with them, and in the process, we always have what we may call the inner thought, of always saying that guy is an Illuminati guy, and now once we have that type of information in our mind, then we equate them with the devil, with the dark world, with the other world, or what we may call satanism. Cult is more of a satanic form of a thing. So therefore, once we see any family member being part and parcel of a cult, wow, it is so the entire family now is being branded with a lot of negative perceptions and views. So which are some of the social issues or social problems that are realized, especially when families are linked with a certain cult? Comes in by someone being a member of a certain cult is what we may call the distrust of the outsiders. Yeah, because as I have said before, we cannot trust someone maybe who is in a Freemason. As a society, we always feel those people that maybe are practicing a certain cult, they are evil related. They are evil related, and therefore anytime they talk or anytime they do anything, we always see them with a lot of negative manner, and we always generate a lot of distrust between us and them. And now once we have that form of a distrust, then it really becomes very, very it really becomes a very bad thing. The other issue is what we are calling the severe relationship. Anyone who is in a certain cult, we always question we always question them a lot, and we even become very, very hesitant, maybe interacting with their kids, interacting with their families, and we always shun away. We always shun away, or we don't even want to go closer, to where they live or even what they do. That's a very, very very bad way, or very bad way of social living. Yeah. Another thing that I've been noted, anyone, be it a family member or be it an individual, maybe within a society, who is form and parcel of a certain cult, they always have difficulty with intimacy. Yeah, this is where maybe kids from that home, whereby maybe a certain cult was being practiced, they always find it difficult, to form in what we may call the healthy relationship with other families. That's a very, very bad way of social interaction. Yeah, because at the end of the day, you really want to have your kids interact with others, and in the process of interacting with others, they are able to form what we may call a positive relationship. However, if maybe you are perceived to have been to be to be in maybe from a certain cult, even your children within the social settings are always eliminated. Yeah, they are always eliminated. So being a member of cult, it's a very long way, as as it also exposes your kids or even your other family members, not to have trust issues, unhealthy relationship. And the moment maybe you are experiencing unhealthy relationship, then you can be very sure that even when your kids will be grown up, they'll not be able to, they'll not be able to cohese or maybe to interact in a very positive manner with other people within the social settings. So a cult can also create that complex time between you and even your kids and even the generations to come. So families that are linked with what we may call a cult, they have also been known, to be very, very financially manipulating. This is where they really want also to, they can, they do a lot in terms of ensuring that they have resources. Like the churches, like most of the churches that are here in Africa and the occult related churches, they are doing almost everything to ensure that they extort money, from the public and from the maybe the congregation that they are really leading. The same thing, those families that are linked with a certain cult, maybe the Freemason or something of sort, so they are always there, maybe trying to pressure, uh, people to donate money for them to keep on going on. So like the church, I think the church is a perfect example of how financial abuse is being done by most of the cults, with most pastors, who are practicing the cult, always and always focusing on ensuring that they even sell fake things, to their congregants as a way of maybe earning money from them. So that's a form of a financial exploitation. That's a form of financial exploitation. Similarly, as I had said before, if a certain individual or maybe a company or even a religion or whatever organization that it might be within the social setting is practicing cult, then they tend to take education, education to be not the part and parcel of their growth, because they tend to remit maybe their members from interacting with the outside world. And the moment their members do not interact with the outside world, then they form what we may call the secrecy, and in the process of forming the secrecy, it comes with a lot of manipulation. So having and acquiring education, I think and I believe is a sure way of ensuring that we eliminate a lot of cults that are really happening within our social setting, because at the end of the day, having a cult is also very important. Having and being maybe a certain member being a part of cult is a very negative way of ensuring that maybe their family are being well appreciated by the society, because it really alienate them from even the social issues. No one really want to interact with their kids. No one really want, everything that even what they earn genuinely is always linked to have been derived from the cult. So cult is a very severe thing, and once someone is part and parcel of cult, then it really hinders them from having what we may call the social element of social interaction. Mm? So as a way of ensuring that families are out of cult, one thing that they can do is all about connecting with others. It's all about connecting with others. If you really want to, if you are part of a certain cult and you believe that maybe people are linking you with a certain cult, I think the easiest way is just to connect with those people, uh, especially the people that maybe really had a certain experience, establish what we call the sense of self, because at the end of the day, you really want to have what we may call an enabling social setting. The other issue, if someone is being linked with a certain cult, seeking professional assistance is also very important. This is where maybe you really want to have some guidance on how to handle maybe some of the key questions, maybe that you are being asked by some people out there, and in the process of maybe seeing a therapy or a professional, then from there they are able to give you what you may call guidance and support, and in the process things now becomes become a little bit more better. The other issue is all about offering time and space. This is where people being perceived to be part of a certain cult, they can be given time to reevaluate their experiences and maybe their direction in life, and I think that one will be very instrumental for them. Then there is need for one to stay focused, despite them maybe being linked with a certain organization or being linked with a certain cult. There is need for them to always stay positive and always learning how to avoid shame, criticism, or even judgmental, and this one is very instrumental to ensuring that they attain their social goals. Holistically, as we have said today, being in a cult is something which is very negative, something that is perceived to be, something that is perceived to be very negative within the social setting. Within the social setting, there is there is there is need for people to understand that that cult, they can really mess up, they can really mess up with their lives. And another way to ensure maybe people get away from a certain cult is just staying positive and maybe following religion that they really feel that it can really enhance their spirituality, and in the process of them yes, Ken. eh okay. And in the process of them interact and they can acquire their faith, this one becomes very, very instrumental. So some of the key reasons, as we have said, why people should fear, joining any form of a cult, is always ensuring that they do not erode the identity, is always ensure that they keep that trust they have with the outsiders. And it's also ensuring that even those people they are living with, they do not fear them, and they are not anxious about what they do. So it's always good to always believe in yourself. Yeah, it's always good to always believe in yourself, and the need to always eliminate any form of a cult, that maybe you might be persuaded to get into, and in the process, everything just becomes very, 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 very positive. As I conclude, a lot of cults are there, for sure, a lot of cults are there, but the most instrumental thing is never to give up in life. The reason why most people are moving into cult is one, you always find that people, you always find that people who are perceiving to be maybe weak in certain areas, for them maybe to ensure, that maybe they move to the next level, they are seeking the powers of the cult. And the moment now they start going that direction, everything just becomes messy. And instead of that, it's always good to believe in your God. It's always good to believe that God is there, and God can even change your situation. you know so that was our topic today. I know it's such a very controversial topic. People do not really want to talk about the existence of cults in our society, but it is very, very fundamental for us to appreciate that cults are there, and the reason, the moment you spot a cult, there is need for you to stay away from it. There is need for you to stay away from it and stay in your main course. So guys, I think I'm going to call it a day at that point, but always let's remain vigilant. Let's always understand this is a cult, this is not a cult, and taking the right choices for us to keep on moving on in life. So until tomorrow guys, let's see how it's going to unfold. Bye.